I'm telling you something you don't already know, but Ron Davis's old man has been trying for 2 years to grease his kid's way out of the death house.
Well, sounds like a normal thing for a father to do.
I said grease the way. Buy the kid out of the death house. Teddy Davis has had his lawyers working on every politician all the way to the State House, and now it's you.
What are you driving at, Lieutenant?
Paying you, isn't he? Just having you in the case is going to make the governor think long and hard about denying another stay of execution, and that's what the Davis money is buying.
Get your hat, Lieutenant. You need some fresh air, particularly in your thinking. We're going to have a talk with Davis about my fee. Anyway, I'd like to find out what kind of a man he is firsthand. While we're gone, can you have one of your men check the whereabouts of Jerry Hansen? He was the one friendly witness at the Davis trial. I'd like to talk to him. He must have had some reason to be his friend.
I must admit, I never really understood my son. His interest in automobiles, it's fantastic.
Well, I'm sure he was exposed to other interests.
Yes, his mother who raised him, she died 3 years ago. Gave him everything a boy could want, finest schools, travel. He had all the money he could possibly use. Yet all he ever wanted to be was a greaseman. Can I offer you gentlemen something?
No, thank you, Mr. Davis.
If you'll just answer one more question, please.
Anything.
How much did you pay Warden Morphy to interest me in your son's case?
Warden Morphy? I wouldn't go near him with that kind of a proposition. He'd tear my head off. He as much as told me it was my fault. What's happened to Ron?
I see. Well, thank you, Mr. Davis. Goodbye. Mrs. Davis?
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Are you sure you won't change your minds and have a spot of refreshment?
No, thanks.
Sorry.
Mr. Merritt. I'll have to be direct. I'll offer you $100,000 if you'll save Ron's life.
I'm not interested, Mr. Davis.
But you said you were. That's why you came here.
I'm interested in developing the facts in your son's case.
Well, you're an attorney. Developing facts is your profession. Surely you expect a fee.
A fee, yes. A bribe, no. If Ron's innocent, we'll get him off, and you'll get a proper bill for my services. Goodbye, Mr. Davis.
Want a drink, honey?
Sure I do. Come on in, honey.
Lieutenant.
Well, Barrister, had enough?
Yes, I have. Enough to convince me that Ron Davis deserves a better break than he's been getting. The time it took to drive out and talk to Mr. Davis hadn't been wasted. There was at least one certainty to show for the effort. Teddy Davis was hurting his son's cause more than he was helping it. The money he was throwing around turned most men of goodwill away from Ron. At least the way he was going about it would turn their stomachs.
Boys were able to run down your witness, Jerry Hansen.
The one who testified for Davis?
That's the one. He's selling used cars. Should be on duty right now. Let's go.
Harry will take care of you.
Police. You Jerry Hansen?
Did I do something wrong?
You don't seem to be very anxious to sell cars.
Well, is it against the law? I'm just here because the parole officer said I had to have a job.
We'd like to talk to you about Ron Davis, Mr. Hansen.
Oh, the kid who killed Ace Coleman. Yeah.
You say that as though you believed he did.
Well, didn't he?
At the trial, you testified as to the boy's character.
Yeah, I stuck my neck out.
Why? Somebody get to you with the idea that Ron Davis had a rich old man who'd pay a lot of money for that kind of testimony?
Oh, no. To tell you the truth, I liked the kid. Some guys were ganging up on him, and the kid didn't have a chance. You know, the way I see it, what he did wasn't so wrong.
Yes?
Somebody had to be on his side.
I see. Well, thanks.
Counselor, the simple fact is I don't have a day I can give to this.
What about Richards and Cook? Two of the biggest hoodlums in town, and they want Ron Davis to burn. They said the same things to me that Hanson said to you and made believe they wanted to help. Obviously, they figure that if I think Ron Davis is guilty, I'll get off the case. Are you just going to ignore that altogether?
You tell me what law they broke, and I'll have them picked up.
All right, all right. If it isn't too inconvenient, I'd like to see the record and identification packages and all the witnesses in the Davis trial.
Why do you want that?
Well, there must be something in the records of those men that'll tell me why they all lied.
Give me the names and I'll phone down and authorize it.
I'd like to start with Jerry Hanson.
Are you forgetting, Counselor, that Jerry Hanson actually did testify for Davis at the trial?
And I'm not forgetting that Richards and Cook also spoke for Davis in my office, and they all want him dead. Now I'd like to find out why.
How you doing, Counselor? Finding anything?
Some interesting facts here, Lieutenant.
No, don't hold out. Tell me about them.
Fact number one. Hanson was sent up for embezzling $2,000.
Barely enough to get him a felony conviction.
I also talked to Hanson's parole officer. He's worried about Hanson.
Keeping bad company?
Good company. Expensive cars, women, apartment that costs $200 a month. Pretty high living for a used car salesman who makes no attempt to sell.
You know, maybe your client, Ron Davis, actually did pay for that testimony.
You can be sure I'm going to find out. Hanson should still be at the used car lot. I think I'll run over and have a talk with him. Something you can do for me while I'm gone.
Oh, name it, Counselor.
Hanson's record of previous arrests, 6 of them. 3 convictions.
Scattered his shots, didn't he? East Coast, West, South, all over the map.
Might be a good idea if you teletype those police departments. Ask for a full report on those arrests.
Oh, hello, Counselor. You made a quick trip. Find out anything?
Nothing to cheer about. What kind of answers are we getting here?
I think they prove out my hunch against Hanson. He's strictly a confidence man. Detroit, arrested for selling phony stock. Chicago, picked up on the old pigeon drop swindle. Buffalo, automobile broker, selling other people's cars on consignment and skipping out with the money. On and on it goes. One cute little swindle after another.
You receive reports on every major crime committed in the country, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Routine reports, they come over the wire.
Well, let's get those reports and go down to your statistical department. I have a question or two for that IBM machine.
These represent all major crimes committed in the 6 cities on the day Hanson was arrested for bunco in those cities.
Buffalo, homicide, murder weapon, ice pick, no arrest. Chicago, homicide, murder weapon, kitchen knife, no arrest. Detroit, homicide, murder weapon, ice pick, no arrest. The other 3 cities where he was arrested have no coincidental murders. But don't you think 3 out of 6 is a pretty fair average?
The way I read these, those were contract killings. Do you think Hanson's a paid killer and this con man bit's only a front?
Well, that's his modus operandi. To be sitting in a jail cell on a minor bunco charge while the police are tearing a city apart for a murderer.
Yeah, it could work, all right. He fills a contract, kills somebody. Then he makes sure the body isn't discovered for a long enough time so the police can't spot the time of the killing within a couple of hours. After the murder, he gets himself picked up on a minor charge, so he's in jail at the approximate time of the killing, and the cops don't think of tying him up with it. Yeah, Herb, it could work all right.
To get Coleman, all he had to do was turn his modus operandi around. He had to get in prison to kill his victim. Otherwise, the pattern was the same.
Yeah, you're right. What's your hurry, gentlemen? Get down. Both of you on this side. Hands on the side of the car. Briscoe. Well, silencer. Fired recently, too. We better get over to that shed. Sit on these guys. Have him get something put on his hand. Hanson, listen to me. You haven't got much time left.
You gotta go, you gotta go.
Look, there's still time for you to confess that you killed Ace Coleman. You don't have to kill Ron Davis, too.
Tomorrow.
Counselor, I've never seen it to fail. I've seen a lot of men die, and not one of them ever thought it would happen to him.
This time you're wrong, cop. This man knows he's gonna die. Davis didn't kill Coleman. I did.
Well, Counselor, you hear enough?
Yeah. Let's go.
You go ahead. I'll stay here till they pick him up.